Something massive is happening in the world of gaming. Microsoft has just laid out a new strategy, and believe me, it's a plan so ambitious it could completely change what we even think a video game console is. So what is this Project Helix, really? And why is it such a huge deal for the future of how we play? Let's get right into it. This is the sentence that changes everything. In her very first big announcement, Microsoft's new gaming chief, Asha Sharma, confirmed it. The next Xbox, codenamed Project Helix, isn't just for Xbox games. It's going to play your PC games too. And that, right there, is the bottom line. It's the end of the console as this closed-off box, and it's the beginning of something totally different. And you gotta understand, this isn't just about making a more powerful machine. Nope. This is a fundamental shift in strategy. Microsoft is intentionally blurring that line, fusing the simple plug-and-play nature of a console with the gigantic open world of a powerful gaming PC. Okay, so what does that really mean? I mean, how does a console just become a PC? What's that actually going to look like when you're sitting there on your couch, controller in hand? Well, the whole idea is really a story of two different layers. On top, you've got the simple, clean interface you're used to, that classic Xbox experience you can zip through with a controller. But right underneath that friendly surface, there's a full-blown Windows operating system. So in practice, this gives you a real choice. You can stay in that simple console mode and play all your Xbox games just like you always have. Or you can switch over to the Windows side and install other PC game stores, like Steam or the Epic Games Store. Suddenly, you've got access to tens of thousands of other games. It's a move that looks a lot like what's happening with PC gaming handhelds. And it seems Microsoft wants to bring that same freedom to the biggest screen in your house. Of course, if you're going to run two different worlds on one machine, you are going to need a ridiculous amount of power. So let's take a look at the engine that's supposed to make this whole thing possible. Now, these are the leaked internal specs, and yeah, they could change. But they paint a very, very clear picture. For all practical purposes, this thing is a high-end gaming PC. We're talking next-generation CPUs and GPUs, a cutting-edge manufacturing process, and a massive pool of super-fast memory. So what does all that fancy tech actually get you? Well, the performance target for Project Helix is reportedly native 4K resolution running at a completely solid 120 frames per second. To give you some context, that could be double the performance of its biggest competitors. This isn't just a little step up, it's a huge generational jump. And this kind of power has benefits that go way beyond just gaming. Sure, for a competitive player, that high frame rate means quicker reactions. But for the rest of us, that PC-level horsepower means the time it takes you to edit a 4K family video could literally be cut in half. It means a complex work spreadsheet or a design program could run just as fast in your living room as it does on a dedicated work computer. This is about making the most powerful device in your home the most useful one, too. But you know how it goes. With great power and flexibility comes, well, a bit of complexity. So does this hybrid idea really give us the best of both worlds, or does it come with a whole new set of problems? And right here, you can see the core trade-off. On the one hand, the advantages are just massive, a nearly endless library of games, a machine that's great for work and creativity, and way better support for accessories and mods. But on the other hand, the downsides are the same things PC gamers have been dealing with for years, messing with different game launchers, managing drivers, and tweaking settings just to get things running right. So the ultimate success of Project Helix is really going to boil down to this one single challenge. Can Microsoft build a TV interface that's so smooth, so intuitive, and so fast that it completely hides all the messy complexity of Windows running just underneath? That right there, that's the billion-dollar question. Now, this kind of bleeding-edge power, it's not going to come cheap. So let's get to the two questions on everyone's mind. How much is this thing going to cost, and when can we actually buy it? According to the leaked estimates, which are based on the cost of the parts, the price could be anywhere from $900 to maybe even $1,400. This puts Project Helix in a totally different category. It's not really competing with other consoles anymore. It's going head-to-head with high-end gaming PCs. As for when you'll be able to get your hands on one, well, the rumored release window right now is sometime in 2027. That gives Microsoft a few years to fine-tune the hardware and, probably more importantly, get that software experience absolutely perfect. But even with all these major reveals, there are still a bunch of critical details we just don't know yet. And these are the questions that are going to define what it's actually like to use this thing day to day.
Things like how are they going to make a PC game that was built for a keyboard and mouse feel good with a controller on the couch? How are parents supposed to manage screen time and content rules when you've got a dozen different game stores? Will it just work with all your old Xbox and maybe even old Windows games? And what happens when you turn it on for the first time? Do you see the simple console menu or the full Windows desktop? These little practical details will be the difference between a seamless revolution and a kind of complicated mess.
Which, of course, brings us back to the biggest question of all. By tearing down that wall and merging its console with the open world of the PC, Microsoft isn't just making a new Xbox. It might be signaling the end of the console era altogether and the beginning of a future where there's just one unified, powerful gaming machine in your living room. The only question left is, are we ready for that?